We're talking about the Shepard's beaked whale here, and we're getting quite a few beaked whales at the moment. Beaked whales, the issue with beaked whales for having with lesser known species, which actually kind of maybe is the point of lesser known species, to have a species that no one really knows much about because they don't get too much airtime, and beaked whales don't really get that much airtime. Mostly because there's not much known about them now. The ginkgo toothed whale got quite a bit of airtime recently because it was discovered. So the shepherd's beaked whale. Um, so I actually had to. So I look for information on these species on the Whale and Dolphin Conservation website, but because of how little was actually known about this species, I actually had to look up a paper about this species. So this paper was by Donnelly et al., 2018. And so the shepherd's beaked whale, they are a species of beaked whale, obviously, part of the Xiphidae group. Xiphidae is one of the families of toothed whales, Dontaceti. So toothed whales are separate from baleen whales. Mysticeti are baleen whales. And so the toothed whales include oceanic dolphins, river dolphins, narwhals, belugas. That's like one family in of itself. I think I mentioned oceanic dolphins. Also includes things like sperm whales. But one of the other groups is the toothed whales. The beaked whales. And the beaked whales are kind of a large group of very little known. They're a group where there's not much known about them, basically. So, with beaked whales, while you're calling them whales and you see a picture of them, you may think that they are actually whales. And similar to baleen whales, things like minke whales, but they're really not. They are more closely related to dolphins, porpoises, and river dolphins than they are to baleen whales. So the shepherd's beaked whale has been spotted roughly 22 times at sea. I love how I say roughly and then a very precise number. But roughly 22 times at sea. Not a lot is known about them. Most of what we know about this species is from strandings. Unfortunately, strandings where they pass away. The range of this species is suggested to be deep offshore waters in the Southern Ocean. They have been seen around the bottom of South America, Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. And their prey is mostly fish and crustaceans, which is somewhat rare for beaked whales because most beaked whales will eat squid. They are large. Beaked whales, one of the largest, and the males grow to about 7 meters. They have a very tiny dorsal fin, quite far down the body, and they have a lighter patch above the flipper, and have like a lighter patch on the face as well. So these beaked whales are the only species of beaked whale to actually have a fully functional set of teeth in both jaws, and this is most likely due to them being one of the rare species of beaked whales that actually eat fish and crustaceans rather than squid. Because you don't need tough teeth to eat a squid. It's very kind of squishy and chewy.
More so, you just need to be able to grab onto them and hold onto them.
Yeah.
It's need to be spiky.
So the males of this species even have small little tusks as well. And when they surface, they have quite a large blow for a beaked whale. So, and maybe one of the easiest beaked whales to see when you're surveying the water. When you're surveying the water, you're on a boat and you've got your binoculars, They're probably one of the easiest to see, just based on the tool below. Now, the threats to them is not too well known because there's not too much known about them. And from strandings, we can speculate that their biggest threats are from noise, such as naval sonar and seismic activity. But there's also speculated to be plastic pollution in play as like a danger to them as well. Um, have I? Is there anything, Geo, that you know about the species or not?
No, did not do any research at all. I wanted to
Oh,
be amazed
education,
by your research skills. Yeah, I wanted to be educated.
educational. Well, most of this information comes from WDC and that paper that I mentioned. So this actually brings us on to educate me, and so our topic for educate me today, and this is the last topic we're covering today in the podcast, is how do we learn about a species we have never seen alive? So I'm gonna ask Gio, do you have any of your own insights on this?
Actually, one of the first things that came to mind was when we talked about the rice whale and how it wasn't it while it was uh, a known species that had been seen alive before, it had never been cataloged as a species yet because we didn't have a complete skeleton. Then when
It was presumed to be a
mm,
subspecies of bright whale.
Yeah. And so when one washed up in the Everglades, they were able to take the body. And of course, from that, you could get a lot of different information, some of which you've listed out in our notes, but they'll take the body and they bury it so that all of the soft tissue and everything will decompose and it will just leave behind the bones, and then they can put transport the skeleton to a lab or research facility, be able to catalog everything, put it all together, and describe the species. You can certainly learn a lot from that, as well as like carbon dating. There's the like otolith layers to determine the age of the whale. You may be able to determine male and female from the skeleton as well. So there's certainly a number of things just from the skeleton that you could pull out, even if it's and also if it's a juvenile or mature as well.
The issue of skeletons is actually like to work out like whether it's a male or female or juvenile is kind of difficult if you don't have multiple skeletons.
Hmm.
And like there have been times like and we're going to be touching a little bit on paleontology here because this is kind of like that same kind of area where scientists might actually make a mistake and assume that a juvenile is a different species when it's actually just a juvenile of another species that they've already catalogued.
Yeah.
But with the as you mentioned, the rice well, they actually had the opposite of this, where they had the skeleton of it, and because they had the skeleton of this, and they had skeletons of rice whales, they could see that there was actually a fundamental difference between a rice whale and a bride's whale. That ended up being the concrete proof that they needed to actually categorize the rice whale as a brand new species, and also currently right now the most endangered species of baleen whale. So there from from a stranding on a beach, typically these kinds of animals you're not going to find them alive. They're going to be deceased by the time you find them stranded, and there is so much that you can learn about like an animal based on its carcass as well. Like evolutionary biology is a massive field for a reason, and you apply a lot of this stuff to things like strandings. and also like autopsies uh, of whales. And so I've kind of got some bullet points here which I'm going to cover. But I'm mostly going to first talk about the external anatomy. So this is, for example, we're going to be looking at things like the flippers, the flukes, the dorsal fin. So if it's got a smaller dorsal fin, you have to wonder like why does it have a smaller dorsal fin? Um, like could this be relative to like depths? Could this be like currents? Like if it's in the Arctic Circle and it's got like no dorsal fin, like the bowhead whale, you have to assume okay, maybe this is actually traveling under the ice most of the time. But then you also look at the flippers. Does it have big flippers? Does it need to be maneuverable or not? It's got small flippers. It doesn't really need to be maneuverable. And then like the size of the flukes as well. Like. But then uh, you can also look at like the skin because like a sperm whale. Picture a sperm whale. It looks very very wrinkly. It looks very like crumpled up.
Mhm.
You know, and so why would that be? That's because it kind of just needs like that. It needs those extra wrinkles because it goes into like the deep sea,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
because of the
and
pressure that's
yeah,
applied
it
to it.
needs
Yeah.
to deal with the pressure on its body. But then, like, if you got something that doesn't really have that, like, and you can probably the biggest giveaway when it comes to whales and dolphins is does it have teeth or does it have baleen plates? Because your baleen plates are like that's a completely different matter. Like
Mhm.
it's a Mississippi is completely different than anything else. Um, but I think you see that early because typically baleen whales will have pleats on their throat, except for a select few species like grey whales, for instance.
Mhm.
And but then even the teeth can tell you a lot about an animal. Um, the teeth gives you an indication on what something hunts. And when we're talking
Mhm.
about the Shepard's beaked whale and the fact it's got like a full set of functional teeth in both jaws, whereas other beaked whales do not, and we know other beaked whales feed on squid, you have to assume, okay, the Shepard's beaked whale most likely doesn't feed on squid. It feeds on something more substantial.
Mhm.
Then you've also got stomach contents, and honestly, stomach contents are going to give you big information on what it eats. So you can use that in combination with the teeth because, like, based on what it eats, like the teeth can also be different based on how it hunts as well. Like, like is it a scavenger? Is it a hunter? Like the teeth will be different. They
Well,
typically,
and going to back to skeleton as well, you can even analyze like the wear on the teeth.
yeah, yeah. That's the other thing. Because like more, if you see a lot of wear, let's take an orca for instance. Let's say you've got an unknown ecotype of orca that has beached and passed away, and like and then you like investigate and you find this like you look at the skeleton and you find the teeth. The teeth are extremely worn. You can make the assumption at that point that this orca might be something that hunts sharks because typically an orca with worn teeth will be hunting sharks because sharks have a very abrasive outer layer of they're not skin. It's they're called dermal denticles, um, but they're basically scales that are like sandpaper in one direction but like smooth as anything in the other direction.
Mhm.
You can also get DNA from these
Mhm.
strandings, and the other thing is also like you can figure out why it's stranded to some extent, but you can also see like injuries that it might have that may not have been caused by the stranding, and the
Yep.
injuries can also tell you something about its lifestyle, like whether I mean not just like what it hunts or anything like that, but also the scars might tell you something about its social structure. If it's got like teeth marks, like if it's got long tooth rakes, there's a good chance you can actually assume that that is actually caused by another of its own species. Like look at Rizu's dolphins, for instance.
And then, and alternatively to that, you can also see what preys on it or tries to prey on it.
If you find like if you find these small little injuries, like round injuries, you know they're cookie cutter shark
Oh,
bites.
yep. Yeah, good old cookie cutter sharks.
If you find cookie cutter shark bites, there's a good chance that what you're looking at feeds in the deep sea. Because cookie cutter sharks are mostly found in the deep sea, and we
Yep, you
just
will
get
find them at whale falls.
did we just get another 10 seconds of shark fans?
I think we did, yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Uh,
As long as they keep
unfortunately,
watching.
yeah, it's good for the engagement. Like you shark fans, like you want the shark content, like keep watching, like good for
Yeah, and
engagement.
give us a thumbs up, drop a comment right now. Tell us you're a shark fan. We'll keep putting shark cracks in for you.
I'll tell you what, if if during 2026 we get 10 comments on any video saying that someone is a shark fan, even if it's the same person, I'll make sure to include some kind of shark story in every remaining podcast of that year. If we get 10 comments from people saying they're shark fans,
Sounds reasonable.
that's a promise that I will have to adhere to. I need to change my thing of like how I find articles because I need to add sharks. I actually did see a shark thing recently. How many whale sharks though? Yeah, but they're only half sharks. They're half whale.